Action.
Fancy a cuppa? Tea is the national drink of England. We are stereotypically known to drink tea and we love it. We actually do. Like, the amount of cups of tea my mum drinks is unbelievable. Like, the kettle is always on, all the time. As I've said before, this is a cup or a mug. A mug is normally used for tea unless it's a teacup. You can get tea sets, which include the pot, the cup and the saucers and the milk jugs and the sugar pot. If it's on its own, it's normally in a mug like this. Normally we drink black tea or oolong tea, sometimes Earl Grey. We have so many, well actually everyone has so many different types of tea. There are various brands, sometimes English breakfast tea. It varies on the time of day and just personal preference as to what kind of tea you possibly like to drink. So normally it's black tea. Normally sometimes it's with milk, sometimes with sugar. So to make a perfect cup of tea, first of all, you will need a kettle. Normally you can go into, say, Asda, Wilko's, and you can sometimes get it for £5, you know. A good kettle is all you need. You just need a good kettle. If you don't have a kettle, get a stove and heat up some water. So you need to make sure that water is boiling hot. So if you don't know how to use a kettle, just flick the switch and it goes for ages, and then a modern kettle would normally switch itself off, or an old-fashioned kettle would squeak and sing like ee. But yes, so make sure there's good hot boiling water, and then you would get either a tea bag. I think I saw a tea bag over here. Oh, brilliant. Someone's peppermint. Some English breakfast tea. So this is a tea bag. That's what they look like. Sometimes they don't have this stringy thing. Sometimes they do. Just varies. Other times, if you're going to somewhere posh or very la-di-da, they'd have a little sieve, which is a tiny metal one, because the leaves are still in the pot, so then the leaves would be collected in the sieve. But in general, casually drinking tea, we would use a tea bag. So there's boiling water, there's a tea bag. Pop that in, pour the boiling water in, and then it depends if you like it strong or weak. Now, my auntie likes it weak, so if somebody asks for a weak tea, then you immediately take the bag out after. Let it slightly colour, but make sure it's out as fast as possible. Some people like theirs medium. If they like theirs sort of a bit medium, you leave it for a couple of seconds and then give it a bit of a squeeze with a spoon, a teaspoon. Do we have a teaspoon? Oh, I think we do. Do we have? Yes, we do. We have a teaspoon. Very important equipment. Teaspoon. Got to have a teaspoon of tea. So then you would squeeze it against the mug and then take it out for a medium tea. Now for a strong tea, some people I know, like my friend Paul, likes to let it brew for a bit. So you just let it sit for maybe 2 minutes. My brother likes green tea and he keeps the bag in. Some people do like the bag in. Normally it's for teas like green tea or infusions. But in general you take it out, and if it's strong, you leave it for a bit, say 2 minutes, give it a good squeeze, and then take it out. Make sure the water cannot be unboiled. It's got to be really boiling hot water to make sure the tea is perfect. If you're using a pot, heat the pot up first. That's a good trick. Always put some boiling water into the teapot, let that heat up, and then refresh it with when you're making your tea. Sometimes you can make your tea in the pot. If you're using a teapot, you make it in the pot and pour it into cups. Otherwise it's in the individual mug. So like that. And some people like their tea with milk. So after you've taken the tea bag out, you get a bit of milk and pour it in. And make sure it's a sort of golden colour. So don't make it too pale or too dark unless they say so. Some people don't like a lot of milk, some people do like a lot of milk. But if they don't mention it, make sure it's a sort of golden colour. Slightly paler than this kind of wood at the back. That's kind of what you're aiming for. Otherwise you get amber tea syndrome, which is not good. You don't want tea to be too milky either, unless somebody likes it milky. And then some people like theirs black as well. So if they ask for black tea, that means that doesn't mean just the type of tea, that means they don't want milk in it. So just be aware when somebody says black tea. And then after that, some people like sugar in there, some people don't. Normally the response is when someone says no sugar, they go, oh no, I'm sweet enough. So that normally means no sugar. But otherwise, you do 1 teaspoon if somebody asks for 1 sugar, or they'll say 2 sugars, which is 2 teaspoons of sugar, or 2 little sachets if you're using sachets. Some people like a lot of sugar. I know people that like 5 sugars, 8 sugars. Bit excessive and unhealthy in general. Well, technically, although it makes it taste pretty sweet. If you've got a nice sweet tooth. So yes, so you need your kettle, your mug, your tea bag, your teaspoon, and if you're using it, your milk and your sugar. Pop it in, pop the water in, squeezy squeezy, out we come, and then otherwise we get the milk, pour it in, give a bit of a stir, do that, make sure the water gets back into the pot, and then get some sugar if you're using sugar. 1, 2, stir again, and that. And then enjoy your nice mug of tea. I hope to see you soon in the next video.